All right, let's do a Bitcoin video kind of summary going into the weekend so we know what to watch for the next couple of days going into the weekly close. We got to flip the 4 hour right back to there. That's step one, right? The 4 hour needs to go back above the 200 or, probably a retest of, 29 to 28.8, something on these lows here, right? You can see maybe we'll sweep the lows again. If you just like invert the chart, it's just, you can see it's almost the same on both sides, really, right? We're just doing a lot of chop around low 29s, right? Equidistant. If you just set this right, like that, I mean, we're just covering the line. We go up, we go down, we go down, we go up, right? And we're just back at equilibrium here, right? Hopefully you can see that. So we're not doing anything, right? We're going a mile up and then running a mile back, right? We're going laps around the track, doing nothing. So until we can have some more traction, right? That's the odds. So let's zoom out to the daily. We have our 100-day EMA here around 28.7. You can see our first initial tap on the first day of August. A little bit of a higher low here with the wick. We could potentially hit that again, right? Or just kind of come back down here. If we close down below that this weekend, which is unlikely, right? I think that would take some volatility, especially after a move up, right? This upper shadow, this kind of double upper wicks here. This needs to hold, right? Looking at this daily chart, this seems like a good spot that we need to fight for here, right? Look back here, right, on the daily, the 50 EMA here, right? Let's look to hold that, right? Previous resistance many times. Support, maybe we come down here, right? But we need to come back up and hold it as support like we did here, right? We wicked above it pretty much every day for a week and still ended up closing back below it every day. So maybe we do something like that again on the flip side. Wick down to 29.2 and then every day close back above 29.3. So that 50-day, watch that this weekend. That's it. 29.340 as of right now, the exact number. Closing below that increases our odds of testing, at least 29K, right? I mean, that's pretty much the clear evidence right there on this chart, right? You see that, right? Those are two pretty clear levels on the daily chart. The 50-day and then the range lows. Look how many wicks. So 29K is very likely if we close under 29,350-ish right there. So not a big spread, right? We're not worried about falling thousands of dollars or anything. It's 1%. So we look for some kind of move, right? It's almost a shame that we're looking for a 1% move as being the likely scenario. But all-time low volatility for Bitcoin on the weekly chart. This is what you get. Below that, right, we close under here. We take out the close here, 29. It's almost a guaranteed that you're going to the 100, right? And then the next level would be somewhere around there. So here's our steps down. If we go down, if we go up, right? Looking at the evidence, right, we have made a close high and a higher close high. So if we come up again, we must make, you guessed it, another close high. So we're looking at that. If we come up and we make a lower close high, that would signify, that either more chop, could be, or starting, continuing, this downtrend, right? So, watch for that. I'm just trying to give you all possibilities here, right? Nobody has any idea what's coming, right? We're just trying to follow the evidence. So let's zoom out let's go just to the weekly, right? To the weekly chart, right? Close on Sunday, 2.5 days. Still relatively indecisive candles last week and this week. See where the close is. We'd love to close above the 8-week EMA at 29.3. Again, 29.3 on the 50-day EMA. Remember from the daily chart, 29.3 is going to be kind of important on the weekly too, because that would be our second consecutive weekly close under the EMA 8, which does what? It increases our odds of testing the next one. So that's at 28.7-ish or so. If we go back down, the biggest level to watch on the weekly chart to me is the 21 week. So if we go down again, 28K, all is still good, right? That's where we hit before. back in June, and that's where we hit before back in February before bouncing big time both times back to the upside. So maybe we do that. Maybe it fakes out some people down. I'm not saying it has to happen in the next 2 days, but just, as a worst case scenario, in the next 2 days we go down, right? Don't panic, right? Anything above 28K is perfectly normal and absolutely still bullish, right? Previous resistance, look at how many times we just kind of followed that support, resistance, hopefully back to support, 28K. Would kind of sweep these lows, put in fresh local lows, probably get a lot of people a little bit more bearish, and, likely from there, bigger move back to the upside yet again. So closing under the 21 week is the only thing that would get me a little bit more cautious longer term, for like longer term meaning like the rest of the year for me. Until we close under the weekly 21, you're not going to sway me from bullish odds, right? That should be everyone's. I don't know why it's not like that. The only reason it's not is because you're filling someone else's narrative or their bias. If you're above the 21 week, I mean, you got to be bullish, right? The fact that we closed under the 8-week EMA last week, we'll see where it goes this week. Maybe we need a test of the 21 week again, right? Still, the last time we tested it, it was at 25, 26K, and the same kind of emotions where we were here are now here, pretty rampant. It's just like short-term memory loss. Like I said, like, do you remember how bearish everything got, like around 26K? Because I do. And then kaboom, and then everyone bullish, right? And then everyone's just like, what's Bitcoin done the past few hours? We're going to go with that. That's what's going to happen over the next several years, right? So it's just focus on the longer term, right? Daily, weekly, right? This is still, I mean, look how much we've done in just 6 months since 2023. And I mean, it's pretty spectacular, right? So, tightest weekly Bollinger Bands. Let's see how those are looking. I know I'm probably lost most of you right now, but just want to get you prepared for the weekend. For those of you that are interested, weekly still pinching tight, right? The upper and lower bands. The upper one's starting to open a little bit, but you're right. We're waiting for the bigger move. We're still bullish, also because we're above the median Bollinger Band line, which is at kind of like 28.7. If we start to close under that, right, it's a little bit more cautious because we're starting to approach the lower part of this, so we would need to bounce quickly like we did back here. At most 2 weeks, likely within like 7-8 days at the most, really under 10 days, we would want to spend underneath this the weekly median band. So hopefully that helps. If we're spending multiple weeks down here, that's more sign of caution here, right? So just keep that in mind. But what are the odds? What's Chase's odds? More of the same, probably for the next couple of weeks at this point, right? Because we didn't bounce immediately, right? As soon as we got down here, right, everything's sold off and more indecision. So nothing to take out of these candles, but indecision by definition. So we'll see where we end up closing. Maybe that'll help us sway one way or another. Again, if we close under 29, this would be more of a bearish candle. But you could argue a point where that would be like an inverted hammer on the weekly at the bottom of a downtrend, and we could shoot from there, right? I'll translate what the candles are as they close, but until they close, it's worthless trying to extract what could possibly happen, right? 17 different scenarios could come of it, right? So I'll look at this on the weekly close, but if it closes indecisive, right, just realize that likely breeds more indecision, and that's the likely scenario going into even next week. If this closes like we are now, even a little bit higher, as long as we're not closing under 29K, that's still an indecisive candle. We start to get a little bit more bearish under that, but we'll see what the candle closes at. Hold above 28.7 and still upper tier of the Bollinger Bands, and still macro bullish above 28, but we'll take it one step at a time going into the weekly close. Hopefully this makes sense. Just watch this again for reference, if it comes Sunday and you're like, what the hell did he say on Friday? All right. I'll see you. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Let me know if you have any questions over the weekend too. If something starts going on and you want to get into an altcoin, I'm all for that. I'm happy to chart out levels or whatever, but otherwise, it's just been pretty quiet across even Twitter, across this group forever. So yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next video, or for any kind of price action update. The Bitcoin ETF delayed, so again, likely indicating further indecisive markets.